Hey there, fellow flavor explorers. Ready to dive deep with us? Today's all about the Marocchino.
Ooh, good choice.
Right. So imagine like rich espresso, creamy milk, and a touch of chocolate all layered up. Visually appealing, A&D tasty.
I know what you mean. It really is more than just a coffee. It's an experience, Like you get drawn in by the looks, then the smell.
Exactly. Okay, so the name, Marocchino. Sounds kind of exotic, right? Like maybe it's Moroccan?
Yeah, you'd think so, right? I mean, Marocchino literally means Moroccan in Italian. But no, it's actually all about the looks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cocoa powder on top. It kind of looks like Moroccan leather. That's where the name comes from.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And you really get a sense of that, the detail when you see it in a glass. Those layers are just gorgeous.
Totally.
So, speaking of ingredients, what goes into making this masterpiece?
Well, it's actually surprisingly simple. Starts with a strong espresso,
Hmm,
and that's key. You got to have good espresso.
I could see that. Gotta have that bold flavor, right? To like set the stage.
Exactly. Then you add that creamy frothed milk, and here's where you can play around a bit.
Oh, how so?
Like dairy milk is the classic, but you can totally use almond milk or oat milk too.
So many options. Makes it super versatile. Okay, but what about the chocolate part?
Ah, yes. That comes in with a good dusting of cocoa powder. You do it like a base layer and then again on top.
So it's like flavor A&D decoration.
Mm.
And you know what else is great? It's ready in like 5 minutes.
Right. Super easy.
So perfect when you need something quick but still special. Or even to impress your friends. Like, look what I made.
Exactly. It's like low effort, high reward. And it's funny because it's kind of like a latte and hot chocolate had a baby.
Oh, interesting. So for those who can't choose between coffee and chocolate.
Yeah. But it's more than that. It's about this balance you get. The
Right.
strong espresso, the creamy milk, and then that little touch of sweet from the cocoa. It
Yeah.
all just, that works.
I like that. Harmonious balance. It's not just throwing stuff together. It's like an art.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a smaller serving, it's perfect for a little treat without being too much.
Absolutely. It's all about savoring, right?
Right.
Enjoying each sip.
Exactly. Sometimes the best things come in small packages.
Yeah. Small indulgences, those are the best. You know, it's funny because a lot of people see this in a cafe and think, oh, no way I could make that. But it's really not that hard.
It's true. Those layered drinks can be intimidating, but once you get the hang of it. So, any tips for our listeners who want to try this at home?
Well, like we said, the espresso's got to be good. Fresh beans, good brewing method, that makes all the difference.
Makes sense. And if you're not sure where to start,
Yeah, if you're not sure, check online or ask your local barista. They usually love to talk coffee.
true. Okay, so espresso's done. What about the milk froth? Any tricks to getting it right?
A milk frother is definitely your friend. Super handy tool. But if you don't have one, a French press works too. Even a whisk.
Oh, cool. So no fancy equipment needed. Exactly. It's more about the technique. And when you put it all together, don't forget the presentation. Use a clear glass so you can see those layers.
Oh yeah, the cocoa powder on the bottom, then the espresso, then that milk froth. It's so pretty.
Right. Like a little work of art. And then that final dusting of cocoa powder on top. It's like, the finishing touch.
I love it. But beyond the looks, what about the taste? What should people expect when they take that first sip?
Well, you get that hit of espresso first, kind of bitter, but then the sweetness from the cocoa powder balances it out, and then the milk froth comes in all smooth and creamy. It's a really nice mix.
So it's got something for everyone, basically.
Hmm.
Bold coffee lovers and those who like it a little sweeter.
Exactly. Now, the cool thing is, even though it's a classic drink, you can still play around with it a bit.
Oh, like how?
Well, like some people like a stronger coffee taste, so they use a double shot of espresso. Or you can add some sugar, maybe even a flavored syrup if you want it sweeter.
It's like a blank canvas. You can get creative with it.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, did Eat Every Slice have any particular tips that stood out?
Oh, yeah. They really emphasized using good cocoa powder, specifically Dutch processed cocoa.
Oh, interesting. What's so special about that?
It's smoother, less acidic, so it really brings out the best in the Marocchino. Everything tastes more balanced.
For those who are new to this, what exactly is Dutch processed cocoa?
So, cocoa powder is made from cocoa beans, right? They're fermented, dried, roasted, then ground into a paste. That paste gets separated into cocoa butter and cocoa solids. The solids are what we use for cocoa powder. Dutch process just means it goes through an extra step.
An extra step.
Yeah, it's called alkalization. Basically, they treat the cocoa solids with an alkaline solution, which neutralizes the acidity.
So it's like taking the bite out of it.
Exactly, makes it smoother.
Yeah.
And that works really well with the strong espresso and Americano. The sweetness comes through without, like, overpowering everything else.
So it's all about balance. That makes sense. Now, how would you compare a Marocchino to, say, a latte or a cappuccino?
Good question. They all have espresso and steamed milk, but the amounts are different. And the cocoa powder is what makes the Marocchino unique. A latte is mostly milk with a little foam. A cappuccino has more espresso and a thicker foam layer. The Marocchino, well, you've got that cocoa powder layer, which changes everything.
So it's its own thing, and it seems lighter than a latte or a cappuccino.
Definitely. More like a treat with that touch of chocolate.
It's all about those little moments, right?
Yeah.
Savoring the flavors.
Exactly. It's like appreciating the art of making a good drink. There's something kind of ritualistic about making a Marocchino, the way you layer everything, that final dusting of cocoa.
Yeah, it's like a little ceremony. Makes it feel special.
Totally. And it's great for sharing, too. Imagine making these for friends. It's like a little piece of Italy you're sharing with them.
That's a nice thought. Speaking of Italy, this isn't like a super old drink, right?
You're right. It's actually fairly recent, probably started in the 80s in the Piedmont region of Italy. Some say it was inspired by the Bicerin, another layered drink from Turin.
So it's new, but with a nod to the classics. I love that. And it's amazing how it's become so popular all over the world. It's a testament to how good it is,
It really is a global phenomenon now, and it's cool to see how people are getting creative with it. Have you tried any different variations?
I have. I once tried adding a little cinnamon to the cocoa powder for like a warm, spicy kind of thing.
Oh, interesting.
It was really good. And I've heard of people using like different kind of chocolate, dark, milk, even white.
Oh, yeah. I actually like to use a shot of hazelnut liquor sometimes instead of sugar.
Fancy.
It adds this nutty sweetness and a little warmth that goes so well with the chocolate and espresso.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
But I guess no matter what you add, you still have those core ingredients, the espresso, milk, chocolate.
Exactly. That's what makes it a Marocchino, right? But it's still fun to play around.
Absolutely. It's like coffee, but make it an adventure.
I like that. And honestly, this whole deep dive has really reminded me that coffee is more than just a drink.
I know what you mean. It's like old culture.
Oh, yeah. And it can be so creative. And it brings people together.
It really does. So we want to hear from you, our listeners. Have you ever tried a Marocchino? What did you think?
Yeah. And if you're feeling inspired after this, definitely give it a try. We want to see your creations.
Exactly. Share your thoughts, your tips, maybe even your own crazy variations.
You can find us on social media or visit eateveryslice.com. There's a whole community of coffee lovers there.
It's a great place to connect and share your love of coffee. And who knows, maybe you'll discover your new favorite drink.
Maybe so.
Until next time, happy sipping, everyone.